where should I start? If by any chance this video goes a little bit longer than what I normally do, yeah, then you'll know why. Smallville Season 9 finale, episode titled Salvation, has just literally blew all other finales that we have seen right out of the water. Okay, the opening scene was epic. We had a flash forward of some sort. Clark had a sort of a dream in the future, set in 2013 or 2012, I believe. There was a mention of Lex running for US president. Perry White was editor. Lois Lane was already a world-class reporter. Clark Kent had glasses, and then there was a flash of red and blue in the sky, that is. But that was all a dream for Clark anyway. Then remember in the promo where at the end we saw the flash of the symbol in Clark's eye? Well, it looks like Martha Kent has given him a gift, something to be recognised by when he becomes Superman, basically. So yeah, that was the mysterious box that we saw that he opened. Then also obviously Zod and Lois talking to each other. Zod basically trying to get Lois to get him the Book of Ra. As I say, we find out what the Book of Ra was really about. It's not actually a Bible of Krypton. It is a device that transports the Kandorians to another plane of existence. Where they've gone, we have no idea. There was mention of a new world. Okay, we saw all the members of the Justice League and Justice Society as well. Not Aquaman, Hawkman, Stargirl, Black Canary, Cyborg and Martian Manhunter as well. They were all spread about in parts of the world, keeping an eye on the Kandorians, who are pretty much starting to ransack the planet and almost claiming it as their own. Dearie me, I'm stumped. Clark believes that he wants to try and redeem Zod in some form, because when he confronts Zod to try and redeem him, he basically tells Zod that he blames himself for killing his father, Jonathan Kent, back in season 5, and you sort of get the idea of what Clark's trying to do to Zod. You know, not to, although he blames himself for what happened to his dad, he eventually forgives himself and moves on. You know, tries to live life as best as he can and fulfill whatever destiny that he feels he has a purpose for. But Zod doesn't see that whatsoever. Tess, poor old Tess. I think it's fair to say that Tess has left us. Obviously the scene where she attacks Zod in the fortress and then he leaves her clinging to life. This was where it got really interesting. There was a certain shot in the hospital, when Clark took Tess to the hospital the first time round, of a granny, an old lady knitting, okay, just outside the room that Tess was in. Then when we go back to Tess, she's fighting for her life. The doctors and the nurses are trying to keep her calm, trying to keep her alive. Then at 3:33 PM, I don't know why that number's significant for some weird reason, but at 3:33 PM, Tessa's passed on. We then see this old lady who's knitting drop her knitting stuff, put it into the bag, and goes into the room where Tess is. The only two words I can think of for this old woman is granny goodness. Okay? Which brings me on to the next bit regarding New World and Granny Goodness. Chloe and Oliver are trying to link back up, well, a new satellite that Oliver has put up, and he goes into the into like the little aircon system, I might as well call it, to activate the satellite. When he does, Chloe sees him on the screen, as it were, like a little tracking dot, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, there's all these red dots going towards Oliver. We're automatically thinking, oh, it's the Kandorians, oh my god, they've zeroed in on Oliver, they know where he is, they're going to attack him. But then Oliver says something that completely throws us off. Just as he's being attacked, he basically says to Chloe, they are not Kandorians. Exactly. So again, make of that what you will. Wow, where am I up to? Right. The scene where Lois finds the journal by Virgil Swan. She pretty much looks through the whole book, sees the symbol for the Book of Ra, well, I wouldn't say she confronts Clark, but this particular scene between Lois and Clark reminds me of Clark and Lana. How every time Clark was saying something to Lana, she always wanted him to tell her the truth, but he never did, because obviously we remember what happened in season 5 during the 12th episode, Reckoning. But he's done the same thing with Lois. You know, Lois tells Clark that she's received a job offer from Perry White in Africa. She's not sure if she should take it. Clark is basically telling her, you should take it, because this will be a good thing for you. That's basically him saying, I'm keeping you out of harm's way, I'm trying to protect you. But Lois is thinking, well, you know, you're not being honest with me. And suddenly I just thought, Chloe versus Klarna. That was just my mindset there. When Lois does eventually take the Book of Ra from Clark, is about to hand it to Zod, but she clocks on that Zod is not the Blur. Okay, she realises that Zod is not the Blur. It all goes on from there. Okay, there's this amazing shot of where, as Zod chucks Lois towards the phone booth, Clark literally just comes out of nowhere, gives Zod the most almighty punch I've probably ever seen him throw against anyone. It was just amazing, basically. And then you see him run towards Lois and manages to save her just as she's about to get hit into the phone booth. But the shots that we saw for this particular scene were all lighted, but it is all done in the dark. Clark doesn't actually say anything as he takes the Book of Ra from Lois, but as they do kiss, well, Lois puts 2 and 2 together. Okay.